Bugs are everywhere in Pokémon, and not just in the code. They're often one of the first Pokémon you catch, and the first one you evolve. They teach you the fundamentals of what it means to play Pokémon, and like any good set of training wheels, you're expected to drop them when you don't need them anymore. But what if you don't? What if you're a dumb idiot like me and never learned how to ride a bike? Well, we're going to try and find out today as we beat Legend ZA using only bugs. Let's jump into the game. Our story begins with the city of Lumos facing an unprecedented crisis. The streets are overrun with giant bugs and no one knows what to do. Quasartico, the cyberpunk megacorp that basically runs the city, has brought in a bug specialist to handle the situation. Branko the entomologist. What they don't realize is that due to a minor clerical error, they have hired Franco, a dyslexic etymologist, instead. Franco, unwilling to pass up on his first job opportunity since getting his useless degree, has decided that he will take on the city's bug problem. And using the same brain cells that led to a BA in English, has decided the best way to do that is by training a bunch of bugs himself and taking them through the ranks of the citywide battle royale, facing off against the strongest Lumos has to offer, and using what he learns on the way to free the city from its creepy, crawly captors. First thing Franco has to do on his journey is catch a bug. Weedle is the bug of choice, and with a little bit of training, it'll evolve into Kakuna and take on its first royale. At the royale, Franco learns his first bug fact of the journey. Bugs are bad. You can see an example of this here in a battle against another Weedle, which takes an eternity. Hey, so I actually found a book on the subject of Weedle fights by a famous biologist, Dr. Theodore Zeus. So I'm going to read a little excerpt from it for you. When Needle Weedles fight, it's called a Needle Weedle battle. And when they battle in a puddle, it's a Needle Weedle puddle battle. And when Needle Weedles battle with paddles in a puddle, they call it a Needle Weedle puddle paddle battle. And when Weedles battle Weedles in a puddle paddle battle and the Weedle battle puddle is a puddle in a bottle, they call this a Needle Weedle bottle puddle paddle battle muddle. And when Weedles fight these battles in a bottle with their paddles and the bottle's on a poodle and the poodle's eating noodles, they call this a muddle puddle needle poodle Weedle noodle bottle paddle battle. All this, and the fight's still going on. How about we just call this one a draw? Move on to our first real opponent, Zack, who is canonically the worst trainer in Lumios. Fight does not go well. We bring a second Pokemon, Scatterbug, but Scatterbug and Kakuna combined are not enough to take down his first Pokemon, Slowpoke. Its psychic attacks are too much for us. It feels like Zack brought a knife to a Needle Weedle battle. Franco, now officially the worst trainer in Lumios, does some research and learns bug fact number 2. Bugs evolve super quickly. A quick round of training, which at this point mostly involves catching random Pokemon, is enough for Kakuna to realize his full, meager potential as a Beedrill. Our newly evolved Beedrill makes quick work of Slowpoke, but struggles against Zack's Pidgey, taking a hearty beating in the process, leaving us a little worried for his last Pokemon, but it turns out it's just a Pikachu, so we're fine. Franco can go up a rank. The next morning while getting coffee, Franco is visited by Vinnie, a Quasartico employee who's just here to check up on him and make sure we're making progress on the bug problem. Franco lies and says things are going great, which Vinnie is happy to hear.
If he finds out the truth, we're screwed. We have to live the lie.
A new team member's in order, and it can't suck. So following a lead from a fellow Royale competitor, Tawnie, Franco tracks down world-famous Heracross, Bois. He'll give our team some much-needed oomph for the future. We also had a Venipede, and miss an opportunity for another team member, because Franco hasn't learned cool bug fact number 3 yet. Not all bugs are insects. But don't worry, we will come back for it later. With our team better fleshed out, we can move on to our next Royale opponent, Yvonne. She isn't nearly as much trouble as she was here in my Dragon run. Beedrill handles both her fairies, but isn't quite enough to handle her Pavilion. Bois enters and beats the ever-loving piss out of the other bug. Even with a 4x weakness to Gust, Bois can handle it. Zavi comes after Yvonne, and his Furfrou manages to take a win against us. It's got Fire Fang, which comes out really fast and does super effective damage against the whole team. On our second attempt, Bois sweeps through Zavi with little effort, no extra training required. Rintaro is Franco's W rank up match, and his team is a matched set of fully evolved elemental monkeys. Grass Monkey is no problem for Beedrill, obviously, but Fire Monkey does good damage against the whole team and can use Protect to block Franco's strongest moves. It takes out 2 Mons, but Bois can finish it off, leaving only Water Monkey left. It mistimes its Protect, and Bois knocks it out, bringing us up to rank V. We've got trouble on the horizon, and that's trouble with a capital T for Tawnie, who's here to beat Franco up, take his lunch money, and have her dog piss on whatever's left over. Do you think that's a little too graphic? Well, just check out how this fight goes. Her Pig Knight KOs Beedrill and falls to Bois. Bois takes out Bayleaf no problem, but Tawnie's a sore loser about it and sends out a Mega Manectric that stomps all of our bugs without any answers. We don't have any Mega Pokemon yet, and there's nothing we can do about this. You'll notice there's also an Absol on our team for this fight. It's required, we had to bring it here in order to fight Tawnie. We're not using it though, so it's totally fine. Fortunately, winning this fight is not required to progress, so no take-backsies. But it is a wake-up call. Franco's gonna need a bigger team if he wants to do this. So we'll finally go back to the graveyard and catch that Spinarak we missed earlier, adding a third bug poison to the team. We also clear out an infestation of Spupa at the Lumos Museum, catching one for ourselves in the process. Let's say, this guy in the cool armor. He evolves right away into Tundra Pattern Vivillon, just so he can style on all the other Vivillon in the city. Before Franco can move on to his next Royale match, he's called out by Vinnie to meet at Quasartico. You see, Vinnie's been doing some digging and found out Franco's credentials aren't what they seem, and is beginning to question if anything he's heard about Franco can be trusted at all. To be fair, Francophonic, dyslexic etymologist, sounds less like a person and more like a Roger the Alien bit. Vinnie viciously and unprovokedly assaults Franco. You would think we'd have the edge in this fight, because Vinnie mostly uses Dark-type Pokemon, but his Houndoom gets a lucky burn on Bois, basically ending the fight right there. Sure, we can take out his Sharpedo and Baniri, but without Bois, we can't handle his Mega Drampa. We still don't have any Mega Pokemon of our own. Franco pleads for one more chance to prove himself. He's come so far and learned so much, even solving the museum's bug infestation. Vinnie relents. This time, we approach the battle with Citrus Berries equipped for some extra health, and we get lucky because there's no burns on Bois, so we can take out Drampa with the rest of Vinnie's team. Vinnie agrees to let Franco keep working on the city's bug problem, but insists that we take a Mega Stone so we can Mega Evolve Bois. Otherwise, we won't be able to keep up with the other challengers ahead. Bois leads us to victory. We fly through the ranks all the way to rank F, where we meet our next major opponent, Canary. We track Canary to a live meet event where Franco challenges her backstage, but shock of all shocks, Canary wasn't there. The whole event was being run by her grandpa Tarragon, who was catfishing the fans on Canary's behalf. And though Catfish Grandpa would make for a sick Fleetwood Mac cover band, that's cold comfort when Tarragon attacks us. Hippowdon is his lead, and it takes the combined efforts of Vivillon and Venipede to bring it down with Poison Stall. Ariados whittles down Diggersby for Bois to finish it off, and Tarragon is forced to use his Mega Excadrill. Bois, with his own Megaform unleashed, knocks it out in one hit. Tarragon has no choice but to tell us that Canary's been hiding in his basement this whole time, and we're off to go fight her next. Canary opens with Heliolisk, and we lead Ariados to trade back and forth until it goes down. Ampharos is next, doing big damage with its Power Gems. Beedrill gets a lucky poison, but faints in the process. We bring Ariados back in and bait out the Power Gem so we can stall for a little bit more poison chip. Ariados is still at low health from fighting Heliolisk, so it doesn't last very long. We have to bring Bois in to finish off Ampharos. Bois then knocks out Stunfisk easily enough, and squares off against Mega Electros, which it knocks out with a lunge. Canary is beaten, and Franco ranks up again. This will definitely help the city's bug problem. We're learning so much about bugs right now. Investigating more giant bugs brings Franco face to face with a Mega Beedrill, and this is a good spot to run through Mega Battles. There are 15 total spread throughout the game, and they all work the exact same way. We have one Pokemon attack at a range to charge up our Mega Gauge, and another Pokemon Mega Evolves to deal damage. These fights are difficult, but not because they're a challenge to your Pokemon, but because they're a challenge to you, the player, and your ability to dodge. If a Pokemon faints, it's because they wandered in front of an attack that was meant for you. So as long as you keep dodging, you'll knock the Pokemon out before running out of Pokemon of your own. Doing this to Mega Beedrill earns us a Mega Stone, allowing us to Mega Evolve our Beedrill. Right now, Franco's team consists of 5 Pokemon. Ariados, a Bug Poison Physical Attacker. Beedrill, a Bug Poison Physical Attacker with the option to Mega Evolve. Venipede, a Bug Poison Physical Attacker with the potential to Mega Evolve, but you'll notice we haven't evolved Venipede. Look, this one's entirely my fault. I think Venipede's too cute to give up on, and I don't care how baller Scolipede is, the Ballerpede. I like having a mascot, and a cute little Tonka truck made of love and chitin is just too good to pass up on, so we're using Venipede for the rest of the game. Our fourth team member, Bois, is a Heracross. He's another physical attacker, and he's easily the strongest member of the team thanks to great stats and boosted trade experience. Bringing us to our fifth team member, Vivillon, who gives us a little bit more type variety being a bug flying, but is also our only special attacker. And if I'm being frank, which I'm not, I'm being Franco, Vivillon doesn't do very much. Even in the best of circumstances, it's doing minuscule damage, and we'll see that in an upcoming fight. All of that leaves us with one more slot open on the team for Franco's last Pokemon, and there are two options available at this point, Scyther or Pinsir. Both of them are physical attackers, which doesn't really help our team composition. Both of them offer flying type, if I Mega Evolve Pinsir, and speaking of evolution, we can't evolve Scyther. We don't get the Metal Coat until literally the end of the game, and even if we did, I don't have anyone to trade it with, so it's kinda useless. Ultimately, we're going to choose Pinsir as our last team member. Welcome aboard Bois 2.0. We are immediately thrust into a Canary refight, which goes exactly the same as the first time, but this time, Pinsir gets to show her stuff off and use her lunge to knock out Mega... thing. Electros. It's called Electros. I forgot its name for a second there. And that's the end of our challenge. Thank you so much for watching. It means a lot for me that you've made it through this video. Do the regular YouTube stuff, like, comment, subscribe. The comments are the important part because I like to read those. What's that? You don't think the challenge should be over yet? You think there's still 15 minutes left in the video? Well, you're right about that, but officially this is where a bug type only challenge ends, because I can't technically continue the game, because there's a big fountain in the way and we need a bug Pokemon with Ice Beam to freeze it. And I can't get one of those. I just can't do it by myself. I need someone who owns the Mega Dimensions DLC, I need them to catch a Wimpod, I need to trade the Wimpod over from them, I need to evolve the Wimpod into a Golisopod, and then I can teach Golisopod Ice Beam. A Golice Beam, if you will. And then we can have it freeze the fountain on our behalf. But I can't do all that because, as established before, I don't have anyone to trade with. So if we want this challenge to continue, we're just going to pretend that I did all that and move on to our fight against Gwyn. Gwyn specializes in ghosts, and only has 3 Pokemon, but her final Pokemon, Mega Chandelure, might be the scariest thing Franco's faced so far. Appropriate that a lamp is the worst thing a bug could deal with. To prepare for Chandelure, we have Vivillon set Light Screen up against Gwyn's Gourgeist to half the damage of all Chandelure's attacks. This does not end up making a difference because Chandelure hits way too hard. It one-shots Beedrill through Light Screen and leaves huge fire spins on the ground that chip down Ariados. I even tried to get clever with our Mega Evolution and use the transformation to dodge an attack, but our bugs simply cannot resist the Siren's Call of the Lamp, and Bois ends up burning up in the process. We do end up pulling through in the end. Chandelure runs out of Mega Power, leaving it a sitting duck for Pinsir, who finishes it off with a brutal swing. Gwyn was not a rank-up match. That honor belongs to her brother, Ivore, Bug Squasher Supreme and overall swell guy. Vivillon is our lead into Ivore's Heracross, and you'd think the flying type would make this easy, but as we've established, Vivillon sucks, and can't kill Heracross even with a 4x weakness. We bring in Ariados against Medicham next. This seems like a bad play with our Psychic weakness, but Ariados does a good enough job weakening Medicham down that Pinsir can finish it off. But Ariados does a good enough job weakening Medicham down that Venipede can finish it off. Machamp has too much bulk for Beedrill to handle alone, so once again it's up to Bois to close the fight out. Thankfully, Bois naturally gets access to flying coverage with Aerial Ice. This is part of the reason why I didn't go for Beetle Battle's Puddle Fight Fiddle Faddle Mirror match at the start. Didn't want to risk getting counterattacked by Aerial Ice and losing our best option. Heracross wins the duel in the dojo, and Franco goes up to rank D. Franco has learned lots about bugs, but there's been a recurring problem. Bugs kinda suck, and our bug types specifically match poorly into certain Pokemon. Specifically, fire, flying, and rock types. Also, steel types, poison types, fairy types, fighting types, ghost types, as well as any Pokemon that happens to have a fire, flying, or rock move. And psychic moves aren't too great either, because even though Bug is good into psychic, 60% of our team is weak to psychic and dies if a psychic so much as looks at it funny. Also, we do bad at anything with a half-decent defense stat, because all of our Pokemon are physical attackers. What I'm saying is, Franco needs to learn how other trainers deal with Bug's many, many weaknesses. So with that in mind, Franco's next ranked match is against Corbo, a man whose best feature is his enormous, throbbing worm, Scolipede. Franco tries to meet Corbo at his office, but is stopped outside by human chalkboard Philippe, who won't let us into the fight without a fight. Philippe is a problem. As mentioned before, our team has problems with physically defensive mons, steel types, and Pokemon with flying or rock moves. This is Philippe's entire team. Steelix knocks out Pinsir, Vivillon, and Ariados with rock moves, taking little damage in the process. Beedrill only barely manages to take it out because Drill Run puts Beedrill slightly outside of Rock Slide's reach. Beedrill trades down with Scizor next, and beats it with only a sliver of health left, but dies to Mega Skarmory. Bois somehow survives an Air Slash, probably because Skarmory is not much of a special attacker, and barely takes it out. Beating Philippe on our first try was possibly the most surprising part of this run. Either way, Franco earns his meeting with Corbo. Franco is just quivering with anticipation at the thought of seeing Corbo's giant, girthy worm, and he agrees to show us his, if we show him ours first. Yeah, well, it's pretty cold outside. I don't think this is a fair comparison. This is making me self-conscious. Let's just move on to the fight. Beedrill's up first against Arbok, who has random fire coverage in Fire Fang just to cause problems. Vivillon finishes Arbok off, leading Corbo to send out his Gyarados, and this is where I finally figured out how to use Vivillon. Sleep Powder. It's the only reason. Sleep in this game slows down an opponent's attack speed, so in most fights from here on out, I try to identify the biggest threat and have Vivillon sack for the cause. Against Gyarados, you can see this only does so much, because Gyarados can still sweep Franco's whole team with Bounce. Once again, it's all up to Bois to close the game out. Bois one-shots Roserade, but the real fun begins when Mega Scolipede hits the field. Bois manages to hit around Protect with its Rock Blast, and duck under Gunk Shot with Dig before coming back up and finishing it with another Rock Blast. Franco goes up another rank, and Corbo imparts a bug fact upon us before Philippe throws us out. You don't use bugs because they're strong. You use bugs because you're strong. And they're rad as hell. Words Franco takes to heart. Jacinthe the Fairy Specialist is our next opponent, but she's going to put Franco through the ringer before he gets a chance to face her. Jacinthe's maid Lebane jumps us with a team of dragons, leading a Noivern. It knocks out both Beedrill and Vivillon with Hurricane, taking barely any damage in return. As prophesized, Vivillon sacks for the cause, putting Noivern to sleep before dying, so Ariados has a chance to whittle it down and finish it with Mega Horn. Her Tyrantrum is up next, and as a rock type, it unsurprisingly knocks out Pinsir with little effort. The rest of the fight is up to Bois, who dodges Rock Slides by Mega Evolving, and responds by knocking out Tyrantrum with a Brick Break. Garchomp hits the field and buffs itself with a Swords Dance, but Bois steamrolls it with Mega Horn. Mega Dragalge is Lebane's strongest Pokemon, with solid defenses and resistance to all of our attacks, but not much attack power to answer us, so Bois can beat it down slowly but surely. Jacinthe's not done with us yet, and still expects us to go through at least 3 more battles before facing her. It's been all of 10 minutes, so I guess it's time for another Canary refight. It's not very noteworthy, other than the fact that I don't know if her Ampharos still has Power Gem, so I run around trying to bait it out, and get blasted as soon as I drop my guard. Yeah, no, that's fair. Ivore's up next with Heracross into our Vivillon, and they knock each other out. Vivillon's yet to get a win. His next 3 Pokemon don't do much but kick shins with our team until they fall over. Real edge-of-your-seat stuff. The Corbo refight is where stuff starts to get good again. Ariados, acting as a makeshift special attacker, knocks out Arbok with ease, but is in no shape to continue afterwards, so it's up to Vivillon to weaken Gyarados with Sleep Powder, and the combined effort of Pinsir and Bois to finish it off. Bois takes a bad poison from Roserade, leaving him in rough shape for Corbo's Scolipede. Mega Beedrill does its best to weaken Scolipede, but it's a little too squishy to seal the deal. The weakened Bois comes out next, and does good damage thanks to a Gunk Shot whiffing over its head, but can't quite do it. And there's only 1 Pokemon left on Franco's team now. Venipede. I'm beginning to regret not evolving it. Who knows, maybe he'll win because his speed is superior. The little guy gives it his all, and a Gunk Shot whiffs over his tiny, tiny head. Venipede takes the win. I guess it's not about your size, it's about how you use it. It's finally Jacint's turn to face off against Franco, and this team is trouble right out the gate. Carbink is Rock Fairy and spreads stealth rocks all over the place to compensate for its weak attack stat. After Pinsir takes it down, I try to preemptively switch in Bois to catch her Aurorus off guard, which would seem like the obvious switch in, but I'm wrong, and now Bois is staring down the jaws of a Mawile. I don't think it's worth Mega Evolving Bois here, so I'm fine with him and Mawile taking a mutual KO. Aurorus finally rears its head, and it's all up to Beedrill from here. Beedrill can one-shot most of Jacint's fairies, but can't really take a hit in return, not even a weak one. But thankfully it doesn't have to, and the rest of Jacint's team goes down. I'm incredibly glad I'm never going to have to say Jacinth ever again. Franco goes up a Frank. Next, Franco needs to battle the baristas of Blue Boulevard, Grisham and Griselle, but he has a hard time reading the signs and ends up on Philippe's turf again by accident, leading to another battle. It does not go well. Remember the first time when we fought him when I was surprised how well it went? Turns out all the problems that I thought we were going to have the first time hit us extra hard this time, so it blindsided me when it took us 3 attempts to beat him. Our first loss was against his Aggron spamming Rock Slide. There's not a lot you can do when you end up caught in a loop like this. Our second fight came down to the wire against Mega Skarmory, but the team just couldn't do enough into a 4x resistance. In the fight where we finally won, I realized it was worth it to save Bois for the end of the fight because Skarmory doesn't have any flying moves. That's enough to earn us a win against Philippe, and he kindly points us in the direction of the nearest Starbucks. Griselle is up first, and not to spoil how the fight goes, but bad. She opens with a Fire Flying, followed by a Fire Ground, and then a Rock Flying, easily obliterating our unsuspecting team. Knowing this, on our second try, I have a better idea how to approach your team. Talonflame likes to lead with Quick Attack, leaving it wide open for Bois to one-shot it with Rock Blast. Pinsir is up next against her Camerupt, and despite dodging a Lava Plume with Dig, it still can't quite finish it off. That'll fall to Beedrill. Bois comes back out again for Griselle's Metagross. It doesn't matter if he's weak to it, we just need big damage fast to take it down. Aerodactyl returns the favor, leaving Bois with just a sliver of health, and now all that's left is Mega Pyroar.
For Blazing Sword!
And that takes care of that. Franco's on to fight Grisham, and this one's going to be a bit of a doozy. Maybe it's a good thing we never went to his cafe, because with a team comp like this, I'm pretty sure he would personally piss in my cornflakes every morning given the opportunity. 2 fire types, 2 pseudo-legendaries with type advantage, and the remaining 2 Pokemon aren't slouches either. Let me just run you through all the ways this fight can go wrong. Tyranitar can catch me in a Stone Edge loop. Charizard can catch me in a Flare Blitz loop. Salamence can catch me in an Aerial Ace loop. Salamence can kill Bois during his Mega Evolution. You hear the evolution go off. How is that fair? Malamar can take a Pokemon with Hypnosis, making them completely useless for the rest of the fight. And oh, this one's my favorite attempt. I play smart the whole time, I bait out Charizard's Fire Attack with Protect, leaving it open for Bois to finish it with Rock Blast, only for Bois to get caught trying to run into an invisible wall, leaving him wide open. What did I do to deserve this? 7 tries later and we get a winning run. And I'm not proud of this win. Ariados knocks out Pangoro. Pinsir one-shots Malamar and dodges an overheat from Pyroar, allowing her to take it out too. Bois takes on Tyranitar and survives against Salamence with only a sliver of health. And look at what I do to beat Charizard. This right here, this little miracle of Game Freak coding lets me stall out the Mega Evolution long enough for its timer to run out, so Bois can seal the deal. I don't feel good about this win. What happened here today was a tragedy. Not that that's going to stop Franco from celebrating. He's top rank, and there's only one thing standing between him and his plan to save the city. Tawnie. Tawnie wants nothing more than to help the city with all of her heart, so she came up with the brilliant idea of converting the Eiffel Tower into a giant bug zapper. Yeah, I don't think that's going to be enough on its own. Franco needs to come up with a better idea quick, otherwise he's going to lose out on his first paycheck. We'll start by taking Tawnie out, and then see what we can do about the bug zapper afterwards. Tawnie leads Meowstic into Pinsir. Meowstic tries to set up its dual screen support, but Pinsir can shut that down with Brick Break easily enough. Next up is Avalug, who's scary with Stone Edge and bulky enough to beat Pinsir, but not bulky enough to handle Bois' fighting attacks. Embor is Tawnie's answer to Bois, so we try to weaken it with Ariados and Vivillon. When Bois comes back in again, we successfully timer Protect to dodge Flare Blitz and knock Embor out with Aerial Ace. The Manetric that caused us so much trouble before is easy pickings for a Mega Evolved Bois. How the tables have turned. Goodra comes into Poison Bois, forcing us to switch out, and the final standoff is between our first Pokemon Beedrill and Tawnie's Ace Meganium. Beedrill one-shots Meganium, and we finally defeat Tawnie. This is where Franco remembers Corbo's words of wisdom. You don't use bugs because they're strong. You use bugs because you're strong. And they're rad as hell. And learns the final, most important bug fact of all. Bugs are cool and strong and awesome, and screw you for saying otherwise. Franco's decided to switch teams. The bugs aren't the problem with the city is the problem with the bugs. And now it's up to Franco to stop the giant bug-annihilating monstrosity that plagues Lumos City, freeing its arthropod residents from human tyranny once and for all. Bois is our best bet to take it down, with Franco cowering behind carefully placed rubble. Bois snipes the power chords with Pin Missile and Rock Blast. In the second phase, I mess up our positioning and Bois gets taken down. It's at this point we learn that Ariados is too short for the Zapper's attacks to hit it, meaning she can chip it down and Beedrill can finish it off. For the third and final phase, Pinsir finally gets to use its Mega Evolution and takes out one of the electrical wires, and Ariados, our short queen, closes out the fight. The city is saved, and our new insect overlords are endlessly thankful for what Franco did. Honoring the initial contract for a pest removal, Franco earns a whopping $400 for his hard work. Maybe this wasn't the right career path either. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Just want to say once again, like and subscribe, and especially put the comments because that's my favorite part. I like to read those. I guess it's becoming my New Year's resolution that I'm going to keep making videos like this. If you've got any ideas, I'd love to hear about, because I'm running out myself. I don't want to just do only these type challenges for ZA. ZA is a terrible game to have to edit. Other than that, I'm going to be on my way. You guys take care now. Bye-bye.